In the fundraising world, the more money your company raises, the more valuable your company will be. In year 2022 alone, the Asia-Pacific IPO market had 845 IPOs, raising a total of $120 billion US in proceeds. This is taking the smallest hit from the global economic downturn and geopolitical tensions. Just within China alone is on course to set another record in the highest annual capital raising by the close of 2022. Raising funds for business owners, especially startups and SMEs, can be an uphill battle. Many face the problem of rejection from financial institutions and potential investors. As a business owner, have you ever considered how you can buy talents, technologies, and territories for business expansion? I'm Joanne Lai, your trusted Extensive Wealth Educator. Today, we'll be sharing with you how you can raise funds for different businesses and how it can be done to decrease the rejection rate from investors. There are typically 5 phases to this fundraising process. The first is the pre-seed stage, the second is the seed funding, the third is the Series A, B and C, and the fourth is the pre-IPO, and finally, the fifth is the IPO stage. For the series funding, pre-seed funding is usually the earliest stage of funding. Usually, the business is just starting out and they rely on funds from the founders, their families, and their friends. Angel investors, incubators, and venture capital firms that focus on early-stage startups would also be keen to invest at this stage. Seed funding is usually used to take a startup from its initial idea to product development and eventually to the market. And it is usually the very first money that businesses raise. Series funding can be a powerful tool for companies to acquire funds it needs for growth and development. With careful planning, business owners can set and meet short-term and long-term goals and eventually achieving public status for their companies. At this stage, you can raise amounts from $500,000 to $1.5 million from accredited investors through a 45-day campaign. For startups, venture capital companies, private equity companies, we can use SAFEs. SAFE stands for Simple Agreement for Future Equities. We can also use artificial intelligence technology tools to help you to matchmake the different types of investors that have a highest probability of funding your business. A new and legitimate way to raise funds for businesses is by leveraging on crowdfunding to pitch to potential investors. In the crowdfunding space, there are 2 ways to raise this capital. First is community and crowd-driven early-stage capital, where you can raise anything from $500,000 to $5 million from accredited investors, retail investors, and from your community over 45 to 90 days. The second way is a crowd-powered growth capital. You may raise $5 million to $75 million from accredited investors. For the third way is called direct listing offer. This is called listing by default when there are more than 400 shareholders, 300 million market cap, or 2 million and above working capital. The next is IPO stage. IPO happens when an existing company decides to go public for the very first time and becomes a public listed company. There is a way that we use and we summarize it into this thing called the BEST approach, B-E-S-T. B stands for background check, where there is questions that we need to ask to find out about the business growth in a year. What are the return on sales and return on investment like? And what are the pain points in your business? For effective fundraising, we need to know whether your business is a blue sky or a red sea. If you qualify as a blue sky, the vital statistics of your business must fulfill this criteria. The first is customer growth plus revenue growth of 36% year on year. The second is that 24% return on sales net of costs. And the third is capital above 36% year on year return on investment. If your business happens to be a red sea, we will help you to assess what are the pain points and how we can turn the obstacles into opportunities for you. E stands for expectations. We need to know what are the funds needed, for what, and by when. With the money, how much will your profits go up by? How much would you like to raise now, and for what purpose? Suppose you raised it, how many additional profits can you get? Is it 30%, 50%, or 100%? Most businesses rely on borrowed funds or credit lines to expand their businesses. However, Suppose it is possible for you to raise funds that you do not need to repay, isn't it a better strategy? For public listed companies and their subsidiaries, there's a BOSS model. That is to issue bonds with options to convert into shares and structured notes, so that they can get the money that they need to grow without having to repay. For T, it stands for TEST. If your profits is at $2 million at $15 profits earnings ratio, your market cap would be 15 times 2, which is equivalent to 30 million. With that money, you can deliver $12 million of profit. At 15 times PE ratio, your market cap would be 180 million, and your market cap can eventually grow to $1 billion. How would you like that? Have you considered the above ways to raise funds for your businesses? Are you answering your investors effectively? I'm Joanne Lai, your trusted extensive wealth educator. Please follow, like, and share this video to fellow business owners you know who are struggling with fundraising. Thank you.